to Complexity Made Simple. My name is Paul Allen, and before we get into today's video, just a reminder, some great news. The design of experiments for 21st century engineers, the Minitab version, has just been released. I know for those of you unfortunate enough to have selected Minitab, you have a great deal of difficulty in understanding this software. So we've created this special version of this text with the Minitab screenshots. The link to lulu.com where you can buy this book is in the description below. And of course, you also have the option of purchasing Drink Tea and Read the Paper, which is the perfect book to go with your green belt or Six Sigma black belt training. The link to lulu.com for that book is also in the description below. And of course, the other thing that we'd really love you to do, please go to buymeacoffee.com and make a small donation. All of these things, the purchase of the books and the donations, they help keep the channel moving. I'm really grateful to all of those people who are currently donating. Many thanks for your support and your help. And now let's get on with today's video. Welcome to the latest video. And in this video newsletter, well, what we're going to talk about is how senior management are the root of all quality problems. Senior management are the root of all the problems. And this kind of comes from watching a video of Dr Deming. Senior management are the root of all quality problems. And to be honest, this isn't a point of view I've come to just by watching Deming for 5 minutes in the last week or so. The video that I'm going to show you what Deming said is just a reminder to me of how 90% of all quality problems, and this is a direct quote from Deming, 90% of all quality problems come from senior management. It's all your fault, fellas. And the little clip I'm going to show you, look, is Deming talking about training. The guy asks Deming a question about training, and basically it's a question of sort of who should get trained. So take a little look at what Deming says about who should be trained.
Dr. Deming, in order for American industry to be competitive in world markets in the years and decades to come, a transformation needs to take place in management. Part of that transformation, in order to make that transformation, a lot of training needs to be done, among other things. Right now there's a whole lot of training going on, but there's some good training and some bad training, and I was wondering whether you could comment on some of the problems you see in current training programs.
Well, I don't know what you mean by training, but I know what I mean. The training has got to take place in the management, and I mean top management. If you speak of decades, a new kind of management must take place, and it must be quite different, totally different from what management has been accustomed to. The management, if you ask me, I'd say there's lots of talk about quality, but very little action. In fact, I think my impression is, and I have some reason, some basis for my statements, that most management is unaware that anything has been happening, and if it has, certainly management had nothing to do with it. No, management is unaware that they have a job. I'm speaking generally. I'm speaking of 97, 98% of management are unaware that they have a job. If the market is lost because of bad quality, then they think that the fault lies in the factory floor. I receive in the mail, perhaps 2 times a week, plans that some people in management have for improvement, and it's always for the other fellow. Always for the factory floor. If they would turn out better quality, we'd have better quality. I haven't seen a word sent to me on any page that's been sent to me about what management must do. The fact is that management must do most of it. I could recount to you an example where with a simple suggestion, the company that is saving from here on out $186,000 per day. Now that sounds like a lot. Sounds terrific. Did you know that's only about 1/30 as much as the total? Most of the rest must be accomplished by the management. They have no idea of the magnitude of their job. It's staggering, and they have no idea what it is.
Okay, now you can see a lot of by the way, go and look at as many videos where they are interviewing Edwards Deming as you can. Most of them, he's getting on a bit, so by the time he started being filmed, he is getting on a bit, and he is a cantankerous old guy, and he will tell you straight what needs to be done. But the videos are all gold dust. Everything Deming says is superb. Now then, let's just talk about what does this mean? Why is it all about senior management and not about local management? Why isn't it about the technician running the machine? Why isn't it about the operator running the machine? Why isn't the quality problem their fault? Because that's the way we treat it. It's their fault. Well, I want you to think about what is the technician in control of? The machine that they're setting up is going to produce a distribution. The product that you're trying to make is demanding a specification. Usually, the way that manifests itself is through a tolerance. So what's the technician's job? What's the local management's job? Well, the local management's job is to take that distribution and pretty much land it on the target. So they have dials, and when they swing on the dials, what can they do? They can move that distribution backwards and forwards, and that's it. That's the only thing that they're in control of. Now, quite honestly, if you look at this picture here, how difficult do you think it would be to swing the dial and to drop that distribution inside that tolerance? That's a relatively easy thing to do, isn't it? So, are you employing stupid people or what? Because that is dead easy to do. Drop the thing on the target and everything's right with the world. But of course there's another part of the problem in that picture, and it isn't where the middle sits. So let's just remind ourselves, local management. They're in charge of the middle. But it isn't just the middle of that picture that makes a difference, because that's an easy problem for local management to solve. But how about if you've got this situation? And you've got a really fat distribution. Now I've drawn that slightly off center, I didn't mean to, but let's assume that they've centered that. Local management have done their job, but this machine, what's it going to do? Well, all day long, it's going to produce defects. And is there anything local management can do about this? Absolutely not. They could swing on the dials backwards and forwards. So if I see a data point here, we could swing on a dial and shove it that way. If I get a data point out here, I could swing on the dial and make it go that way. Is that going to make it better? No, it's going to make the whole thing get worse. So they could try and help out, but if you force local management to help in this situation, they will make the whole situation worse. Now, the people we have to look at is who gave your local management such a bloody awful process to run with such high variability. Well, usually the people that did that were the senior managers. And in what way did they create that problem? Well, all their policies and procedures. So let's have a think. Cost saving in purchasing. So instead of looking for the best quality items to please the customer, what we do is we go and save a penny here and a penny there. The variability is more in the new parts we buy, and the distribution gets worse. This starts to, So penny pinching in your purchasing department. What else? Cost saving in your maintenance routines. Now, by the way, none of this the local management can do anything about. If you want to give them god-awful materials, the poor guy running the machine, nothing he can do. He just has to deal with the crap that you've given them. If you can't be bothered to maintain the machine, if you can't be bothered to make space for the maintenance, if you can't be bothered when production comes under pressure and you have two choices, do you get the urgent order out the door or do you do the important maintenance routine? If you can't be bothered to do the important maintenance routine and the machine starts to misbehave, nothing the local management can do about this. They're toast. They're at the mercy of stupid senior management behavior. What else? What else could we have going on here? So, cost saving in maintenance. Cost saving in training. Maybe buying spares. Let's go for the cheapest. So what we're doing constantly, and all of these are policies, all of these are business policies that can only be managed from the top. If that's what you do and you drive this distribution like this, there is nothing local management can do to dig you out of that stupidity. And if you push them to try, they will make the situation worse. Now, when you look at problems inside businesses, so it goes to the heart of this, why can we say this? When you look at a problem inside a business, you simply take some data and you draw these pictures. The question is, which picture do you see? Do you see a situation that looks like this, where the process is not centered, it's local management? Or do you see a problem that looks like this, there's too much variability, it's senior management? Well, 90% of the time, all the problems I see look like this. They are senior management problems. By the way, buying cheap machinery is another one. Buying cheap machines. If if you're doing all of this, making the variability spread into your processes, all you're doing is making it harder and harder for local management to manage the process. They try and manage the process, make the situation worse. So in other words, they take this and wind it backwards and forwards. What happens to your costs? Your costs just increase exponentially, and now you have chaos on your hands. Think about your day. When you walk into your manufacturing plant, is it predictable, repetitious, always hitting the target, always on time, or is every day different? Do you walk in to a chaotic situation where every day is different? Some days are great days, some days are terrible days, and you never know which one you're going to have. If that is the environment in which you work in, senior management are to blame for that. Senior management, listen to Deming, get trained in what it is you need to do. Get trained in how you can help your people to make more money, get rid of the chaos, and make bucket loads of cash.